Hey, 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 Aloha, aloha. Okay. Thank you. Oh, we're live. Aloha, everyone here and everyone at home. Welcome to New Thought Center of Hawaii today. Today is a day for love. And the love expert is with us in the house, Susan Gregg. Very excited to be facilitating for her and so happy to hear her sharing a little bit later. And today we have for music, we have Mahina Sanders and Christy. And they'll be doing, primarily they do Hawaiian music, but today is kind of a special day because we just found out that a dear friend of ours and a member of the New Thought community has just passed. And his name was Barak Ben Levi. And he was a poet, he was a singer, he was a deep soul, and he will be missed. He was always sharing his gifts, everyone, everywhere he went. A remarkable man in so many ways. And so today, in honor of him, they'll be doing some of his songs. So we're excited to have that happen as well. And we're going to, can I have another song? Yeah.
Okay, aloha everyone. So happy to be here again. And like Pomai Ka'i said, we will be honoring Barak today. And the first song we're going to do, and anybody out there, please, well, feel free to join along. Join along in your room. Sing loud. You know, if you remember Barak, you know that he had a big smile on his face and he would invite everyone to sing. We're going to do a song called I've Shut the Door on Yesterday. Visualize Barak because I'm not quite like him, but we can kind of give the flavor, yeah. I've shut the door on yesterday and its sorrows and mistakes. I've locked within its gloomy walls past failures and heartaches. I've shut the door on yesterday and thrown the key away. Tomorrow holds no doubt for me since I've found today. And now I've thrown the key away to seek another room. I'll furnish it with hopes and smiles and every springtime bloom. I've shut the door on yesterday and thrown the key away. Tomorrow holds no doubt for me since I've found today. No thought shall enter this abode that has a hint of pain, and every malice and distrust shall never therein reign. I've shut the door on yesterday and thrown the key away. Tomorrow holds no doubt for me since I found today. One more time. I've shut the door on yesterday and thrown the key away. Tomorrow holds no doubt for me since I found today. Aloha Barak.
Oh boy, that brings back such good memories. And like Mahina said, he was always helping people to be happy. That was his goal in life. I think it was the same goal as Susan. to express love everywhere and every way. So this is an amazing, fun day of love. I'm excited. Um, I would like to invite our amazing Jean Love up to read our Science of Mind reading for the day, along with a little brief meditation or affirmation.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. I love that. So great to be here with everybody. So it's so funny. It's called Creating Breathing Room, and I'm trying to oh, more breathing room, please. Creating Breathing Room. That is today's Sunday, November 21st, in our beautiful Science of Mind magazine. And I think I'm on the, there I am. Always the ham. I got to be, make sure I'm in the picture if I'm supposed to be. If I'm not supposed to be, I'm okay with that too. What art offers is space, a certain breathing room for the spirit. Life fills all space, and spirit animates every form. But since you are an individual, even the spirit cannot make the gift of life unless you accept it. And then life may have given everything to you, but only that which you accept is yours. And that's from Ernest Holmes' Richer Living, page 271. A July 2020 NPR segment on understanding unconscious bias reports. The human brain can process 11 million bits of information every second. But our conscious minds can handle only 40 to 50 bits of information a second. This means that an enormous amount of stimulation and information is bypassing the conscious mind and being responded to by our unconscious habits and patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving. Our lives are so overly filled with stimulation and our attention taken up by so much input that our minds and our spirits have precious little breathing room from which to respond from our spiritual awareness. We require a certain breathing room for the spirit, for our lives to move from reaction and autopilot to awareness and intentional response. It is in this breathing room that we hear the inner voice, sense the intuitive nudge, and make spiritually grounded choices. Art, nature, meditation, and physical movement all create a certain kind of space in which life gets quieter. We become more present to the moment, allowing it to seep into our awareness rather than bombard us for attention. Here in this breathing room, our spirit expands and we become conscious of the infinite beauty and abundance of life. What creates breathing room for your spirit? Make time and space for today. And here's our affirmation. And it's, well, let's just go for it. Well, we'll do it in two parts. Today I make breathing room for my life. Today I make breathing room for my life. For my spirit to sense the presence. For my spirit to sense the presence, peace and love of spirit. Peace and love of spirit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. She was the reluctant reader today. That's not easy to say, I just realized. So let's see. Oh, we're going to just take a moment and do an opening prayer all together. So if everybody just get comfortable in your seats and Feet on the floor, close your eyes if you want to. And just relax into your chair and take in a deep breath in through your ihu, your nose, in, and let it out through your vaha, your mouth, ha, and in through your nose and out through your mouth, ha. In Hawaiian, we call this the ha, the breath. So make the ha sound when you exhale with your breath in through your nose and out. Ah. And when you do that, you feel your whole body just relax. Your shoulders go down. You feel more comfortable in your seat. You just feel more peaceful and centered. And you bring your awareness into your heart right now. And notice what your heart is experiencing. Whatever it is, it's perfect. And just focus your awareness there as you remember that this is the seat of love, the place where your body expresses this enormous energy field of love all around you, in front of you, behind you, to the sides of you, above you, below you. Whether you are aware or not, you're always in this field, this bubble of love. And now just allow your attention and your focus to, with each breath, allow that field to expand. Sharing that love, moving it out beyond yourself, beyond the space around you, and reaching out and touching everyone in this room. And if you're at home, everyone around you in your home, in your business, your neighbors. Allow that bubble of love to continue to expand out into the world, into your neighborhoods, your communities, your cities, sharing that love, expanding that peace that comes with love, and allowing it to grow more and more with each breath until it encompasses the entire world. And we are in love. Oh, what a great place to be. And knowing that this love is the emanation of the Creator, the Source, God, divine energy, whatever name you have for the higher power, knowing that this is from that divine source and it fills every part of our being. We accept this knowing and we allow ourselves to become aware that we are an expression of that divine source, of that one, of that creator. And because we are an expression of that one, we know that we can create, that we can expand love, that we can be all that we need to be for ourselves and for our family, friends, and others. We are the truth of our being. It is who we are, that divine spark. That divine spark always expanding and growing, exploring, changing. Ah, what a beautiful experience. Allowing that to heal, to bless. Ah. allowing the wholeness and the wellness of all that is. Ah. Ah. And feeling that wholeness and that wellness and that completeness and that love. We know that this is not only true for ourselves, but everyone, everywhere, and everything. For everything is from the Creator, the One, and we are a part of that One. And we have been given the gift of using those wonderful, creative, loving, empowering, healing energies to bless our world. And so may we all move forward today into more blessings and to being a blessing, to blessing others, to being the gift, the makana, the gift to each other by being present. And in being present, we are at one with the divine source. And knowing that we are the present, we give thanks for all of this love, awareness, trust, beauty, healing, strength, compassion. Oh, I could go on for hours of this divine source as it blesses our lives and it blesses others. We release this thought, this word, this belief, this trust into the law. And we know that it is done as we have thought, as we have said, if we have spoken inwardly or outwardly. It is done. And we let our word go. Ualele valiatula, ah mama e. And together we can say, and so it is. Whoa. I don't know where that came from. I was different. But I'm glad it came. So I'd love to invite our beautiful songstresses to help us experience some more love through their amazing music.
Okay. This song we're going to do, I'm sure everyone knows. And a short quip about it. Barak was an amazing man, had a very colorful tapestry of life. And he started out, he was born in Israel, raised in Panama with parents and grandparents working on the Panama Canal, ended up in New York, a sister who was there, and was noticed by someone and started into the healing arts, helping people, was noticed very young that he would help people. People just gravitated toward him. He'd start talking story, hey, and the next thing you know, there was a sharing going on. Anyway, he was always a musician, and he was a young, either an old teenager or a young 20s when he was sitting on a park bench in Central Park, New York, and he was playing or doing the music to the Rivers of Babylon. The direct words came right out of the Hebrew Bible. Yah, no J. And then somebody's agent came walking by and gave him $50 to do his song, and it became popular and all over the world, and nobody knows the origin, or very few people, I should say, know the true origin of that song. Many have claimed it, but that's where it came from. Just a tidbit. So sing along. You know the words. Join right in. Jean, I know you can sing. Let's hear that. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and there we wept, when he remembered Zion. For the wicked took us away, captivity required of us a song. How can we sing ya song in a strange land? So let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Oh, yeah, yeah. From the top, everyone join in. Babylon, where we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. For the wicked took us away, captivity required of us a song. How can we sing ya song in a strange land? So let the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Oh, yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Ooh, yay. So, this is where I'm supposed to say good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome. I am Reverend Pomaka'i Kulan, and I am facilitating today at New Thought Center of Hawaii. And here in this New Thought Church or Center, we don't have a minister. We minister to each other. And we do that in a lot of various ways. And today is my special honor to be celebrating with Susan Gregg. And I'm just very, very happy to be here and doing this today. It's a special week for me this week also. So the powers that be want me to say this. Thanks for wearing your face mask. The Board of Trustees feels this practice is still necessary. Please note that those of us in the front are committed to wearing our masks except when speaking or singing, and there is extra space separating us from the congregation. So we have like 12 feet. And so next, what I'd like to do is invite everyone to share a miracle or an ordinary. So anything that's maybe happened to you that just totally blew your mind, really out of left field, totally unexpected. Or maybe something that happened to you that happens often or you're familiar with, but you never thought of it before as such a special gift. And those we call ordinaries. So when you share those miracles with us, it helps all of us. It's another way of being the minister today. So I'd like to invite anyone who would like to come up and share at our mic. Okay, Liza Brown.
Okay. As everybody probably knows, I'm like money-wise always like really tight. But I really, really want to see my son in California. I really, really do. So I always rent out my car to Deborah Lerman when she comes here. And I get little bit of money that way. But she's willing to give me points on her airlines. I get to see my baby next spring. I'm so excited. And that's angekommen. That's it.
Anyone else?
Well, I'm Pasha, and I had an unusual week. Rob and I spent 3 days on Oahu because he needed to get this sounds really impressive, a cerebral angiogram. And it wasn't a crisis, it wasn't an emergency, it was a planned thing, and actually, a good thing, because it was a follow-up to be sure that he wouldn't have to have any repetition of the seizure that he experienced a little over 6 months ago. And the results were good. Everything was just as we hoped. But it was a challenging experience, probably more for him, because he was the one going to the hospital. It was a surgical procedure, even though it was, routine and a test in a way. But my part was to be the support person and to try to plan things so it would be as unstressful for Rob as possible. But I had to face the limits of planning. Because, obviously, when you're traveling off island, even if it's just to another island, it would be irresponsible not to do any planning. You can't just show up at the airport and hope there'll be an airplane to take you to the right place at the right time. But nevertheless, in spite of my best efforts, I was trying to plan for the cat and the transportation and the lodgings and the food. But there's always going to be certain things that just don't follow the plan, or you don't quite understand everything about the situation you're going into. I think my low point was Wednesday morning. We had to report at like 6 a.m. And in the first half hour, I managed to spill coffee on my bed in the hotel room and leave my credit card in the taxi cab. But the good part was that the cabbie realized the problem, and so came running in the entry doors of the hospital with my credit card and said, "Oh, you forgot this." And and I remember there's a line in a play by Tennessee Williams that says, let's see, "I have often had to depend on the kindness of strangers." So there were numerous moments like that over those 3 days when I had to let go and depend on the kindness of strangers. And you know what? They came through. There were kind strangers ready and willing to help at various points. And so I'm thinking that the lesson that can apply all the time, not just traveling, is just to balance the planning with the trust. When we're home in our familiar places, we think we know what's going to happen from one moment to the next, but do we really? So anyway, I'm so grateful to be back, and I'll be looking forward to applying that lesson. Thank you.
Oh, I've been there. I think we all have at some time in our life. We've lived long enough. I've certainly lived long enough, but not as long as I want to. So I'm confused by this. Announcements first before. Oh, okay. Uh, okay, we're going to go for it. I want to give Susan a whole lot of time to share and answer questions and just do her amazing magic with what she has to tell us. And so I would like to introduce her slightly. Um, she is I like this, as somebody wrote this. Susan is a living love specialist. Through her books, from the Toltec Way to the Encyclopedia of Angels, Spirit Guides, and Ascended Masters, her seminars, workshops, classes, and mentoring programs, love is the focus. She's easy to access on her website, which is really a complicated name, SusanGregg.com. And it's two G's, Gregg. She loves doing wedding ceremonies and blessings and creating labyrinths and tending to her chickens and her 3-acre home retreat. And with her amazing partner, Bee, which we miss. We wish she was here today, and maybe she's watching. And if you are, we love you, Bee. In other words, Susan is a compulsive giver, a giver of love. I totally get that because so am I. We both have that same thing going on. And when I first brought my daughter here to New Thought and she was just a baby, Susan did her talk and she gave my baby a blessing. And that blessing has turned into the miracle of my life. And she is another giver of love like nobody I have ever met in my life. And she doesn't have any filters. She just gives love all the time. My beautiful little Faith. And so that was a gift that Susan gave to us. And she just keeps finding more and more new ways to give. So I would like to now offer the microphone to Susan and allow her to go on her journey of love.
Thank you. I've gone through probably 5 or 6 topics so far, and used to do question at the beginning. And can we? Or I can put out the question, yeah. And the question I thought is, what is your mantra for your life? And many years ago, my mantra was a series of swear words and heart. And then I decided at one point that doesn't serve me, and I changed it. And I changed it to easy and effortless. And no matter what's happening, my background mantra in my life is easy and effortless. And it's just made a huge difference. And I would highly recommend that as a mantra for your life. Because it's just, it can be hard. And, the past few years since we've conjured up COVID, it's been different. The biggest thing I missed is hugs. And when I go into a store, especially if I go into the bank and everybody's got a mask on, I think about, 5 years ago, if we'd walked into the bank with a mask on, we would have gotten a very different response. And just life, love, and loving everything, even especially loving a creation like COVID. What's is that you or me? I don't know. I don't know. How can we love something that impacts our lives that much? Well, we can hate it, we can resist it, we can stamp our feet and say no, 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 and have one experience, or we can go, oh, this is a different experience. We're being invited to be different, and I don't know when I started watching the news again, but I started watching the news. And when I first started watching the news, I would scream at the TV and yell and rant and rave. And then I was like, that's not making it easy and effortless. And that's not improving the quality of my life. And instead, I started watching and sending love, for people that are struggling and for, I still have an opinion, of the insanity of the world right now. I remember back in the 70s when we started, Save the Earth, and everybody was like, hey, those hippies, and you fast forward a little bit, and it would have been nice if we actually took action back then, and now, now that our face is right up against the wall, we seem a little bit more willing to change our thinking. And the thing that you read, I always talk about our filter system, our beliefs, our agreements, our assumptions, our attitudes, and we never see life directly. What we see is we see our filter system. And so everything that's happening out there goes through our filter system, and then we have an experience. And that's why, the mantra easy and effortless has made such a difference in my life. Because when I see it through the filter of easy and effortless, I have one experience. If, on the other hand, I look at it and I curse and scream and fight and have a tantrum, I have a very different experience. And so, what if we met everything in our life with love? Having to wear a mask with love, getting or not getting a vaccination with love. It was interesting. I'm on Facebook, and somebody sent out a picture of a bunch of kids standing in line in the 50s to get their polio shots. And I reposted it. It was interesting because, most of my posts will get 2 or 3 comments. Well, this got a whole lot of comments, and somebody was like, one of his comment was, I used to like your posts. So obviously he did not like the thought of, as collective people. I mean, we don't have polio anymore. And I remember as a kid when my parents had this huge debate about whether to give me a polio vaccine or not. And a few days later, I woke up paralyzed from the neck down. And, as a kid, when you can't move, it's a bit disturbing. So I screamed as loud as I could. My parents came running in, and of course, they were like, oh my God, we made the wrong decision. I just had an allergic reaction to something in there. But I didn't get polio. They thought I had, but I didn't, And really thinking about, energy either expands or contracts. And generally speaking, most of our filter system was created back when we were little kids. And we looked around at the insane world and these big people, and we came up with an assumption about how things really worked. And we came up with assumptions, about a lot of things. And most of those assumptions were limiting. We weren't raised like the Dalai Lama, who was raised so that his filter system was one of love and acceptance, and it still amazes me when I hear him talk about the Chinese people. I just got a mailing about, asking to support freedom for Tibet. And he can really talk about that with emotional neutrality. And he really does send love to the Chinese, which, I think is laudable. I mean, I still have judgments about what has happened to the Tibetan people. But what good does that do me or the Tibetan people? Whereas having a leader that just expresses love. I had the opportunity to meet him one time, and when he walked in, and I'm not a crier, and when he walked into the room, tears just started rolling down my face. And they weren't tears of sadness. It was just his energy impacted me at such a level. And I think it was something that my heart yearned for a long time. And wouldn't it be wonderful if that was everybody's reaction to everybody else? Yeah. I mean, it would drive some people crazy, but I would enjoy it, But in a sense, that's what's nice about the world is everybody's got their own filter system. Thank goodness everybody in the world doesn't want to live here. And thank goodness everybody in the world doesn't want to be in this very spot. It'd be a tad bit crowded. And our filters, we create our reality 100%. I mean, there's nothing in our life by chance. I had a hard time with that when I first started my spiritual journey because it just didn't seem fair. What do you mean I created this? You know, but we did. You know, and health things, we create those too, and we can be distressed by what we've created, or we can realize that, wow, you know, I shut myself off from the energy of the great is. And, you know, the energy of the great is just love. And we can, you know, like with a hose, you can put your finger on it and hold the pressure back for a while, and then it starts spurting out. And we can let that energy of love just flow through us. And sometimes when we experience love, it resonates with something. I mean, when I met the Dalai Lama, I mean, I've never had that kind of experience before or since. And it was amazing. And I didn't look around at everybody else to see what their experience was, but I have a feeling quite a few other people felt the same way. You know, and giving ourselves permission to see what our filter system is, and having an awareness of it and what that means to us. I've been clumsy lately, and I've had a series of concussions, you know, and my neurologist said, no more. Your brain can't take anymore, you know, and I agree, you know, because I've become, no judgment here, I've become stupid in certain areas, you know, very, you know, beyond I went into the kitchen and I don't remember why. I mean, I forget things a lot. Yeah. And being judgmental about it and being angry about it. And, you know, why did you keep hitting your head? Well, I did, you know. And somebody asked me, why do you hit your head so often? And I realized, you know, talking about my chickens, the first chicken coop that we built a somewhat low chicken coop. You can walk in, but the perches for the chickens are just at an optimum height if you want to hit your head. Yeah. And one of my concussions was because I saw something in the corner and I thought it looked like a dead chicken. And I went, you know, to reach for the dead chicken to see if it was okay. It wasn't, it was dead. And well, I guess it was okay, but just wasn't in that body anymore. And I really wonked my head and saw stars, you know, and didn't change the condition of the chicken any, you know. I mean, I went over and lovingly picked her up, and I have a hearse, a chicken hearse. It's an orange bucket, and I use it to take them up to my garden, which is fenced, because when I used to bury them in my yard, pigs like them. And so I'd bury them and the pigs would dig them up, and I didn't like that process. So it's like I have a garden that's fenced because my dad liked to garden and I fenced it for him. And I've got a lot of white pineapples that are courtesy of chickens, you know, because I bury them and I plant something on them. I liked it a lot better when I could just plant flowers all over my property, but the pigs and I can't agree on that. So, and just how actions can change. I got a puppy a while ago, and I've had puppies, you know, I've had lots of them. And I have one dog she's just a little over 2 years old, and she's dying. She was born without part of her kidneys. So we did all sorts of, you know, we had to change her diaper, do this and do the other thing. And she's just, you know, I mean, she doesn't have kidneys. And all that we could do was she's dying. And so, and she's one of the most affectionate dogs I've ever had. And the other day I was sitting on the bed and she was sitting there, and she's only about yay tall. She's a little thing. And for some reason, she just looked into my eyes. And I looked into her eyes and I really connected, and at a different level than I've ever connected before. And I suggested she wants to come back again, and she's been in my life several times. And I said, you know, if you're going to come back again, get a better body. You know, let's get clear about this. Because the first time she came to me, I had her for 7 of her 14 years. And then the next time she came, she only stayed for 7 years. And this time it's just been a little over 2. And it's like, you know, let's extend this a little bit. And I just had this profound connection, and it touched me deeply in my heart. And I have this puppy, and she's definitely a puppy, and she's a big puppy. And Kaloli would be the word I would use to describe her. And it dawned on me I'd never connected with her in that way. So I went, and I can't let her run around loose. So I have leashes in various places in the house, and she has, reign of that leash. And one of them, she jumps up on the most comfortable chair in the house and curls up there. And I think, not a bad place. And she loves to stand on the back of it and look at you. So she did that. And I thought, I've never done that with you. So I did that. And at first she was like looking every which way. And then after a bit, she was like, okay, I guess this is safe. And she looked at me, and we had that profound connection. And I don't know if it's going to last, but she's been really, really good the past few days since I've done that, and of course I haven't left her, but if I leave her for any length of time, she just can't hold her pee and poop. And I swear she likes to dance it after she does it. But she, it was interesting because, of course they're entities, they're spirits, and one of the gifts of having to wear masks is that we get to look at people's eyes a lot more, and the eyes of the soul. And we're not this physical flesh, we're the spirit that gives life to this flesh. And I agree, I want a few more years, but it's just opposite ends of the spectrum, duality. Way at one end is love, and at the other end there's fear. And there's all sorts of stuff in between. But what I find is the more I hang out at the love end, the more magical my life becomes. Like Pasha was saying, that faith and trusting the process. It's easier to do when we're in an environment we're familiar with. But doing it in all things is an incredible gift in our lives and in the lives of people that we bump into. I mean, you two give the gift of your voice, and we can resonate with that. And I went to the beach, which is not an everyday occurrence for me. And I just decided to go to the beach. And it was a place where there was a whole bunch of little cabana kind of things. And I went, and I was sitting, and just as you went into the beach park, there was two people, and I don't know what kind of boombox they had, but it was loud. And they were playing music that wouldn't have been my choice. And I'm sitting there, and what I really wanted to listen to was the waves. And part of me, my little New York kid, wanted to go over there and kind of cut them a new one and tell them to turn their music down. But I had the feeling that it wouldn't. I was like, nah, that won't work. And so I just sat there and tuned into the ocean. And all of a sudden, they shut off their boombox. And I was like, wow. And just as I got ready to leave, which was, probably 45 minutes later, they turned it back on. And I was like, that worked. It worked real well. And it was wonderful because the other little pagoda kind of thing, there was two families in there, or the mothers anyway, and the kids. And it was so sweet because the one mother went down to the ocean to get her little boy, and she came up carrying a diaper like this. So obviously the little boy had done something in his diaper, and she didn't bother putting another diaper on him, and he was just running around buck naked. And I thought, how sweet that he could do that. And there were two little girls that were part of the other family, and all three of them were just, the girls were fully dressed, but the little boy was just, and the little girls didn't seem overly bothered by the fact that he didn't have a diaper on. And I was just watching the joy of them running around and being in the presence of such beauty. And we're always in the presence of beauty. It takes some unusual form sometimes, but even the people that we find the most irritating, past their filter system, they're God, or whatever you want to call that energy, and we mold the energy constantly with our thoughts. And, I like I said, I was watching the news and I was swearing at it a whole lot. And I must admit, I'm still amazed, but I send love. And sometimes I wonder where we're going as a species. And I've had the thought more than once that maybe we're not going to be the dominant species pretty soon. I mean, dinosaurs came and went, and then I don't know where we showed up in the evolutionary path, but who knows? Maybe dogs will take over or roosters. And I just got my chickens. The deal was whenever I get a chicken, I don't kill them. I just let them live out their life, and they give me eggs, and I sell the eggs. And about 6 months ago, my chickens, except for one, she's very regular, don't lay eggs anymore. And so and what I used to do is I'd sell the eggs, and that gave me the money to buy food for all the cats and dogs and chickens. And so I said to Bee, don't you think it's time for us to get chicks? And so she ordered chicks, but in order to get the kind of chicks she wanted, they had to come 2 weeks apart. So we have basically 3 flocks now. And it's so cute. I mean, they come and they're just these little itty bitty fuzzballs. They ship them out when they're a day old. And one of them actually was in transit for 3 days, and I was kind of concerned when I picked up the box, but they were all fine. They're thirsty and hungry, but they're fine. And it's just an incredible watch. And this particular place that we got the chicks from, they throw in an extra one. And you don't necessarily know what kind. And we always get our chickens sexed because we don't really, I mean, roosters don't lay eggs, And we got one, and I think it's a he. And he's growing very fast and very, very pretty. I think he's a purple Orpington. So his feathers are kind of like purplish gray. And he's beautiful. And Bees decided to name him Sylvester. And Sylvester is, I mean, he's been chest bumping the other chickens, which kind of, and we just never kept roosters because most of the time they're mean to the chickens. And then you have to worry about them going off someplace and laying eggs and then hatching them. This way they can go off someplace. They lay eggs, and my puppy found a hatch of eggs and decided they were delicious. And she's got long hair on her face. And oh my God, when she came to the house, it was like, what did you? I mean, I knew what you did, but why did you do that? And when I was driving over here, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about all the animals I have and how much I enjoy them. And some wild bird showed up, and he kind of looks like a pheasant, but he doesn't have the colors of a pheasant. And he's got a bunch of, I don't know whether they're wives or babies, but he had a wife for a while, and then they had a bunch of babies, and the babies went away. But now we have this whole bunch of them, and they make this really wonderful noise. And this morning I went out very early because I had to drive over here. And they were roosting in the circle, and you could hear this little, I don't even know how to describe it, but it warms my heart, that they come around and they feel safe in our yard, except the puppy did get loose one day and hunted them down. Didn't catch them, but, and it's just nature. I grew up in New York City. I never expected to be out here in the middle of the Pacific, I was very shy when I was in college. I wouldn't even go to class if I was late because I'd have to walk in front of people. And so I would go to all my classes, well, the ones that I went to, I would go very early and I would get myself seated before anybody else showed up. And if you had told me I was going to talk in front of people, I would say, oh, no, never. And I enjoy it. And like I said, I came up with 5 or 6 different topics driving over here. And I was wondering with my concussed brain how my brain would hold a thought, and it seems to be doing okay. I haven't gotten too far off, And I figured if I did, you love me anyway, so whatever, And when you were a little kid, what did you want to be when you grew up? My parents would always ask me that, and I would just look at them and said, I'm not going to grow up. And I guess in a sense I never did, because I never became an adult, in the adultness of human beings. And there's a part of us that I think we came here for a reason. And I really think it is to reconnect with who and what we are and then just have fun. You know, Earth is an incredibly sensual planet. You know, we get to eat, we get to play, we get to go in the ocean, you know, we get to have sex, all sorts of different things. And what a wonderful opportunity to just savor life, you know, especially us that are lucky enough to live here. I mean, and I find it very interesting because right now we have a lot of mainlanders showing up. And I find it interesting because the island only puts up with it for so long. And then before you know it, they're packing and going back to the mainland, you know, because they just don't fit. And that's fine. There's some places they fit and go there. Go have fun, peace, you know. And energy is always moving, it never is stagnant. It's expanding or contracting. And love is expansive, fear contracts. And so if you want to go through a small doorway, it might be a good idea to contract your energy. You know, if you just want to enjoy life and just let love lead the way. You know, let it, that's the path I follow, the one of least resistance. And literally, sometimes, I studied with Don Miguel Ruiz and his mother. And when I studied with him, it was very much in Don Carlos Castaneda kind of style shamanism. And a lot of it was energy. And if I think about it, I can see the energy up, whatever. And literally, to me, it looks like stardust. And, I follow the stardust. And my life is just, like I said, I grew up in New York City. And then we moved to Vermont, and I learned to ski, and I loved skiing, and I knew I was going to live in Vermont forever. And then one day I woke up, and it's like, done here. And I sold my house and packed my bags, and I went out and I bought a station wagon so I could put all my stuff in it, and put my suitcase on the front seat and my dog's bed on top of that. And so she drove cross country with me in her dog bed looking around. And I moved to San Diego, sight unseen. And I wound up meeting Miguel and his mother, and the classes were in Spanish. I still don't speak Spanish, and I kept going because it, stardust thing. And so, and we all have the capability of, just follow the love, go in that direction. And I really highly recommend the mantra, easy and effortless. Because if in the background of your mind you think easy and effortless, it makes a huge difference. If you think, oh, that's going to be hard. Like learning a language. When I was a kid, my mother's family was from Switzerland and Austria, and they all spoke, and first generation, and they all spoke German. And my father absolutely forbade me to learn German, because then I'd be part of the conspiracy. And of course, I didn't learn to speak it, but I would respond to their questions that were spoken in German because I understood what was going on. And it must have really sunk in, because to this day, Bea tried to teach me Spanish. And she told me to stop after a while. She says, it hurts my ears. Because I just don't allow it to be easy and effortless. And I kind of put New York spin on Spanish, and it just doesn't work, So really, you're magical. You really are a miracle. I mean, even if you think about it from a physical level, genetically, for you to be in that particular body, I mean, a whole lot of people had to pair up in a particular way. And you think about your family tree and how far back it goes. And I had my genetics thing done and found out that I was high percentage of Neanderthal. I don't know what to think about that, but I got a lot of Neanderthal in my... And, of course, I can remember aspersions being cast about Neanderthal, you're just being so... And it was like, whatever. But think about how many people, how many couples had to pair up, and it just always amazes me when I think about that mathematically. So it's a miracle that you're here. You're magical.
And if you follow the stardust of love, your life will be absolutely amazing. Yeah, so that's my spiel. And if we have time for questions, I love answering questions. So, yeah. Miss Liza?
The connection between the question and the answer, either the questioner has to come up here or you have to paraphrase the question.
Okay, I can re-paraphrase, or you can come up here. Yeah.
This is not a question, but it's something that I wanted to share, and I forget why. It's something related to microphone.
Microphone.
Following star dust.
Mm-hmm.
I went from England to Finhorn, just hadn't planned to go there. I planned to go to France, but went north instead. And there came across a girl who loaned me a book of the Ascended Masters. And from that, I devised a prayer, and I've been saying it for years and years. That was back in the 90s. And I wanted to share that with you. I shared it last weekend because I thought you were here last weekend. But anyway, it starts out, we thank you, God, for life and light abundant, full and free, for perfect health, wealth, power, and unhampered liberty. The first thought of God, bring into your body, temple of God. All humanity is the true God being. This truth, unity, or purpose is never deviated from by storm or conditions of emotion. It's steadfast above the storm. And it goes on and on. But just this last month, I did that at the beach. And my first thought of God wasn't the man, wasn't the, the things that used to come to me, but it was my higher self. And I went, woohoo, that's kind of cool. So that's the one I do now, is I bring in my higher self into my body. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Something you said that tripped that thought, so I wanted to share it.
Thanks, Liza.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Mahalo. Yeah. You have to come up here to ask the question, though. Okay.
So I love this book, and when you wrote it, and the cover came off of it.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what year you wrote it, but I guess my question is, if you could remember, and if you can, if you tell a little bit about how you came to this and how you got so much information in one book about so many guys.
Okay.
And I just love it. And I'll be sending you a copy of this.
Good. And she's asking about my book on angel, saints, and deities, and kind of how it came about and information. And thanks. That was one of my favorite books. That was a book. It wasn't like I initiated it. My agent said, "Hey, would you like to write a book on angels and stuff?" And I said, "Sure." And so the publisher interviewed me, and she said, angels have colors and this and that and the other thing. And I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't verbalize that, obviously, because I was interviewing for the job. And so they decided that I would be a good match. The only caveat was no channeled material. And I was like, good, because I don't channel. So I had to come up with 200 names, and so I did. And how that came about, I'm not sure, but it just kind of flowed. And then they called me up one day and they said, could you be done with the book in, I think it was a month? And out of my mouth came yes. And then it was like, how am I going to do that? And so I meditated and prayed about it. And what I came up with was to create a computer file for each of the entities. And then I still don't think I channeled it. I just talked to them, and what I would do is I would open up a file and I'd interview them and ask them, different questions, and then I'd write it all down. And it it was an incredible experience for me because basically for a month I was in the presence of all those beings. And one of them, I forget which one it was one of, and of all the saints just totally amazed me because I wasn't raised Catholic, and so I didn't know a whole lot about saints. And all I thought is they suffered. And in talking to them, suffering was not at all on their agenda. They just, like there was one woman, first thing in the morning, I had taken B to a doctor's appointment, and I was sitting out in the parking lot, and I opened up her thing, and, I would do some research as far as life story. And the mayor of some city fell in love with her, and she had dedicated her life to Jesus, and wasn't any way she was going to let this guy have sex with her. And he just was furious, so he threw her in the dungeon, and it did all sorts of different things. And in my opinion, I mean, it sounded pretty torturous. One of the things he did is he cut off both her breasts and then threw her back in the prison, expecting she'd be dead the next day. And she prayed to somebody, and they were restored and healed. And he was really pissed off at that, how dare she heal herself? And so he took her out, and he did a whole bunch of stuff, and then he rolled her in hot fire and just a whole bunch of other stuff, and she died. And so I read the bio, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you, too early in the morning. And I closed the file and went back to it. I don't know if it was that same day, but when I went back to it, the biggest thing that I got from her is she never suffered, because she wasn't attached to her physicality, and she had a lot of love and compassion for this guy that was so blinded by his sex drive that he couldn't get the spiritual aspect. And she didn't, and I was like, well, what about when they were rolling you in hot coals and stuff? And she was like, no, I just felt love and compassion. And I thought, whoa. So that's one of my favorite books as well. And I have the latest version over there. It's a little hardcover now. And it was wonderful. I also, same publisher, I wrote a book about herbs. And that one was really neat because by the time I got done writing it, all the trees were moving, because I had so connected with nature that it was just wonderful. I was sitting at my kitchen table one day looking, and, they were all just kind of waving at me. I was like, whoa, So it's amazing what happens because I still don't consider myself a channel. And of all the books I've written, that angel book, I've never received a nasty email. All my other books, people will be kind enough to write to me and saying there's a typo on page blah, 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 blah. And, my thought is, well, just get over yourself, so what? There's a typo, And, but that book, never. All I get is emails from people thanking me, which I thought it was interesting, Because the herb book, I really enjoy gardening and herbs and stuff. And somebody wrote and told me that there was the wrong picture for a particular herb. Well, that wasn't my job. My job was to write about the herbs, and then the publisher put the pictures. And I pretty much said that, and she was like, well, I'm never going to use your book again. I was like, okay, fine with me, So. Yeah, that's my favorite book. Oh, sure. I brought the Toltec Way and that Angel book have both been edited and re-released, and they're smaller in size. And I don't know what the prices on them are, but I charge $10 for them, and I sign them too. So.
Ooh, deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
And thank you for having me. It's wonderful. And I was getting all stressed out. I called Pasha to tell her I was coming, and I had set my intent. I left a half hour late, and I normally blame that on B, but she wasn't with me, so I couldn't blame it on anybody but me. And partway over, I know how to bend time, and so I set my intent that I would be here at 9:50, and I was actually here at 9:45. So it was like, hey, no need to be upset, So.
you can borrow my affirmation, which
Sure.
is I always arrive in perfect time
Mm-hmm.
everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And it always happens.
Yeah. I mean, when I was playing with time when I lived on Oahu, I left for my office and set my intent. And I got there an hour before I left my house. And I wanted to calm myself. And I thought, no, I don't think that's a good idea.
Oh, please come back sooner than
Oh,
later.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
just,
they have this year thing, but you know what? It's just a couple months till next year.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. We could
So-
do it twice a year. I'm fine with that too. Yeah.
That'd be so great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, after you're all invited to go check out the table, except for you people there at home watching on this video, and you can go to your local favorite bookstore and purchase, or even Amazon carries. I think they carry most of her books, if not all of them. And boy, every time I order a book from Amazon, they always send it like within a couple days. They say, oh, it'll be 3 weeks, and then it comes within 2 or 3 days. It's amazing. So that's another opportunity for us. And right now, we're going to give everyone present here an opportunity, and you at home, to go online, um, go to PayPal, visit our website, and click on the link on our website if you're at home, or come forward to our koa bowl, which is sitting up here, and make a love offering for the amazing experience of being together in New Thought community, and for the amazing sharing of our wonderful guest speaker today. Thank you for supporting us in amazing ways, and may you be lovingly supported as you give, you do receive. So, song, beautiful music.
All right. Good stuff. Pasha, thank you for your sharing. That was made me think of Barak quite a lot. I got to spend a lot of time with him before he left. And he was one of those angels that just made you smile, showed up at the right time, made you feel better. And it just made me think, thank you, God, for all of those people. And thank you more when I get to be one of those people. So, sure.
I'm reading a book that's written by somebody that's really immersed in all the different teachings. I think she's a Druid. And the story is wonderful. And one of the things she's teaching people to be is spiritual midwives. And what they used to do is they would sing the person to the other side and literally journey with them until they got home. And it's just and I just finished the section where this gentleman died, and he was a beloved. And it was just so beautiful the way they talked about him going home. And his only concern was the woman that that sang him home didn't know that somebody who's in the nursing home actually killed her mother. And so she's going to have the opportunity to sing him home and release the pain of her mother disappearing. So we can all be spiritual midwives for him to get him
Yes,
home.
absolutely. Be an angel today. Okay. One more we all know. Definitely join in. This one isn't a baraka, but he's done this song too. So join right in. My reggae day. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. That's right. Sing it out. Sing and don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing gonna be all right. Woke up this morning, smiled with the rising sun. 3 little birds sat by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, a melody pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Woke up this morning, smiled to the rising sun. 3 little birds sit by my doorstep, singing sweet songs, a melody pure and true, singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry last time, 'cause every little right, singing, don't about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. We said every little thing, it's gonna be alright. One more time. Every little thing, it's gonna be alright.
Aloha Barak. Oh. We send our aloha with you as you make this journey passage into another expression of yourself. And we know you'll be back because you love this place so much. And we give thanks for all the love that you shared with all of us throughout the years, even when it was hard for you, especially when it was easy. We're so grateful to have known you and to the expression on this planet in the form of Barak and Levi, a special soul that was recognized by everyone who met you. Ahui ho, malama pono, oh, aloha no. Oh. So the last little bit here is our announcements coming up at New Thought Center. We're, of course, live streamed on YouTube and recorded also on YouTube. If you need the link, you can go to our website and to one of our pages has all the links for the last several years. So there's been quite a lot. It was my dream years before this even happened to be live streaming or to be recorded so we could share with more people around the planet. And it was a strange way it came about, but nonetheless, it's my fault. Yeah, I'll take the blame. I think COVID has come to us to have us all be more aware that we are responsible for everyone else and that what we do affects everyone else. And so we can take responsibility. We can wear masks. We can do safe distancing. We can do hand washing and all of that. Or we can choose not to. And we get to recognize how we participate in life and how we show aloha for other people. by how we are with ourselves around this issue. And it's really making people focus more on what that is. So it's been a gift in a lot of ways, and continues to be an interesting experience that has been brought here. I do know one thing, myself and my daughter, who used to get at least a cold or something, been sick at all. We have been totally healthy. Doing all this really works. So, coming up at New Thought next week is Lori Callis, or Calais. I'm not sure how. I, and her title is Beyond Ravi Shankar, The Power of Indian Classical Music. She is herself a gifted and awarded musician, and her music is, I would say, transcendent. My experience of her being here at New Thought was that, and she is so kind as to come here and bless us with her gifts next week. The following week, 5th, it is Christmas decorating time. So we're going to trim the tree, deck the lanai. Um, there won't be any service or speaker, but we'll share with each other, have party, have fun, sing Christmas carols. I hope. And then the following week is Donna Maria Bordeaux, and her title is Noble Leaders in the Emergent Reality. That's all I know. On the first Sunday of every month, our Crystal Healing Bowl meditation is still on hold until COVID lightens up here on this island. And the last Sunday of the month is not on hold. It's a produce giveaway after the service. So it will be next week. So if you have anything to share, food, actually could be anything. If you have anything to share, please bring your abundance to share with us, and we will bring ours to share with you. And New Thought will supply bags for your bounty, or you can bring your own. There is a special event coming up on January 8th. Will be the workshop with Shelley Pearson, who is going to do a workshop called Visit the Past to Heal the Present. And you can find that information on our website, right? To get all the details on that. We have service opportunities. Christmas Eve service, we need musicians, readers, etc., singers. Volunteers are needed for our 50th Jubilee Planning Group. It's not too late. The celebration will extend into 2022. That's a neat number, I'll tell you. I'm a 2-2 person because my birthday's on 2-2. As a matter of fact, it's tomorrow on 2-2, so it's 11/22. And we need a skilled person to recreate the Facebook page for New Thought Center. I did that for a number of years, and I am no longer doing that. So it's still somehow live, even though I put an end to it, but it's still live, and people are still going there. And every once in a while, I remember and I check and respond to messages, but sometimes it's 3 months later. So if anybody would like to play around with responding to New Thought messages that we get on that site, or it could be that simple, just checking for messages a couple times a week and sending back a message, let us know, please. And we always are in love of having and set up and clean up crews who make all these beautiful things for us. Our wonderful, amazing tech person sitting over there with the purple mask on. We love you. And that is it, I think, for today. So To end this, we're going to stand, but not in a circle. We'll just stand where we are and sing Hawaii Aloha.
E Hawaii e kuone hanawe Ku'uhome kula ivine Olino ina pono lanio E Hawaii aloha E haoli na opi o Hawaii ne Oli e Mai nau ahe makani e pa mai ne Mau ke aloha no Hawaii E haoli na opi o Hawaii e Oli e Mai nau ahe makani e pa mai ne Mau ke aloha no Hawaii Mau ke aloha no Hawaii Aloha